on top of that now, if you look at our supplementary, because after our meeting, I took note of what you said and I've included in the supplementary that is now before our county assembly. We have put in the issue of the playgrounds, not just in our schools, but in estates. And the playground is swings, merry-go-round, slides, monkey bars, and seesaws. We sometimes take for granted the impact of just one set of that within the informal settlements where our children many times don't have nothing to play with. So we've incorporated that, and I'm very excited about that program. On health centers, I think we have not given, we need to update the information because we've done quite a number of new of the centers, but really the work was to operationalize the ones that had been built. You know, there were 19 new health centers. They had been at various stages of, completion. Many of them didn't have the perimeter walls, etc., and they were still being handed over from NMS. So we wanted, instead of building new ones, fully operationalize the ones you have. That includes employment of medical staff, nurses, doctors, clinical officers. And so it's not just, a hospital is not just a building. It is the equipment, the commodities, the human resource issues, the financing. I must say, Chair, that the Primary Health Care Fund and the Social Health Authority is the one fund that is doing well, or rather comparatively better. We have even small facilities. If you go to Pipeline, if you go to our level 2s and 3s, getting up to 2 million shillings, in terms of reimbursements. And in our level 2 and 3, we are not charging Nairobians a shilling. You walk in and walk out. Now, with that money that is going there, because we've had to now retrain those managers. Remember, they were not handling a lot of these accounts. We are taking them to School of Government bit by bit to understand, accounting and operating the finance. They are now buying their own medicine in those lower level facilities. Of course, it is not at where we want it to be ideally, but we've seen a great improvement. The example I'll give is Quarry Dispensary with now 1.7 million shillings. They're about every month, and it was just 2 containers, and now the challenge we have is the SHA reimbursements. I know there's a question in health that we owe KEMSA the biggest amount, which was 200 million. Has it gone down? It was 244. It is now 200 million. But I said yes, we owe KEMSA 200 million, but NHIF owes us 800 million. Why don't they deduct and give us a change? It is easier because how are we paying you? We are paying you through provision of that health service. So yes, we owe you 200 million, but you owe us 800 million shillings at the national level. Do that. Yeah. How much are we owed now by?
Through you, Chair. I'm surprised the governor, everybody says SHA is working.
Yeah.
You've really surprised me.
By saying, I'm not saying it's not working, I'm saying they're delayed reimbursement.
But order, members. Outstanding amount here. It's still working. But
order. It's working slowly.
Chair, can I request that you ask the governor to give brief and specific responses because we still have members, a lot of...
time is not on our side.
Yeah.
I'll request the governor to complete.
Yeah.
Let's give him time.
So I was just answering on, I'm answering the specific questions. I'll make it briefer. On the health centers, SHA is working. It's just that delayed reimbursements. And I know I spoke to and wrote to Mercy Mwangangi. SHA owes us 358 million now, and NHF has gone down to 693. And you see they pay monthly on monthly. I wish it was more up to date.
Sorry, so when you say they walk in and walk out in level 3, signing off to share?
Oh yeah, they come in. If they are not registered under SHA, we register them, and those reimbursements. You remember there are 3 funds. There's a primary health care fund, PHC. PHC is targeting the outpatient 2 and 3. They are very efficient. Then you go to level 4 and 5 is where you have the SHA. I think that's where they have a bigger challenge. And then you have the critical care fund. But when you have more time, I can explain and give you examples. I know the health committee is coming to some of our hospitals to be able to see that. And which is what has helped us. Sorry, just to add. Today we hired more than 50 more dentists, and dental services for the first time are being offered throughout the city. You know, it used to be seen as a luxury, but now it is there. Finally, you asked about bursaries and CIDB. At the point, we have reinstated bursaries and scholarships. They have a huge impact. There was the issue of the intergovernmental agreement, which was entered into, and the notification of the county assembly. In the first year, we did bursaries. In the first 2 years, before the COB halted bursaries, we had issued bursaries worth 1.88 billion. That's bursaries of 1.6 and 200 million in ECD capitation. In 2 years, 10 years prior to that, it had been 3 billion. So the bursary and scholarships that had been 3 billion in 10 years, in 2 years we did 2 billion, 1.88 billion. It has huge impact. It is 119,000 children who get the bursaries. It is 5,300 on a scholarship, where from Form 1 to Form 4, your fee is covered. It's a social intervention. I wish schools were completely free, but we see the pain and the challenge that parents in Nairobi are going through. We cannot ignore.
Thank you, Chair. I was wondering why it is not indicated as one of your target areas in the CIDP. We don't have. You have not given us.
That should be an error, because that is a summary, or an extracted summary. We'll give you the full CIDP document. It does have bursaries, it has the health facilities and health centers. Chair, on the issue of summit, Senator has asked, why don't we discuss these things in the summit? Chair, the case we are making, and maybe I should just do a summarized paper as my submission to the Senate on what would sort out the city. We have made it repeatedly in the summit. We've raised the issue of the park. We've raised the issue. In fact, the IGTRC did a gazette notice on museums and all other devolved services. The issue of the roads we've discussed, but sometimes it's political pressure from members of parliament who want to hang on to roads funds. Yet they really should do oversight and representation and legislation. That was a point that was held strongly in as unpopular as it could have been. Because, and I'll give you an example. I don't want to point out any member of parliament of mine, but let me use a place that has many constituencies. If you look at Jogoo Road traverses many constituencies. If you give money to the MPs, no MP will put money on Jogoo Road. They'll put money in the informal settlements. Or if you look at Agwins Kovek, that cuts through, they'll put money in Kawangware or in Kangemi or in Mathare. But these huge arteries that require real support and resources will be completely ignored, So that is why the county is the best level of government to undertake this development, and we really need to move that point. Imagine if we got that 7B of road work every year directly to the county. Instead of 70%, actually 80% of the road funds going to national government, it should be the other way around. So yes, we'll keep making that case. Senator Onyonka, is not about friendship. It's about systems and structures and the law. The court ruled very well that there are only two categories. They got an injunction. I don't know how they got 1 year, just for us to wait. So this year I've been given 120 million on RMLF, 120 million. So what I've said is, instead of doing roads with that 120 million, I'm doing walkways only. For the 120, we'll do walkways because of the non-motorized transport, and we're doing walkways throughout the CBD. If you go to the CBD, you will see a lot of improvement of these walkways. And now we're adding more avenue. We're doing, because 120 million, you'll do 2, 3 roads. That we're funding through our budget, our general budget, and what we agreed on with Kura. The issue of trams and Senator Onyonka, it is this. I wish and the evolution is growing, but once a function is given, we should be able to let it be supported. If counties cannot get external arrangements, I'll give you an example of the BRT. From 2022 December, when the European Investment Bank came to see me, and the AFD, they said they have 300 million euros, the AFD had 74 million euros to finance our BRT line 3 from Dandora all the way to Kajiado County. It took me 2 years because you have to get national government cabinet approval. The national government cabinet approval came out in December of 2024. It has come out in December of 2024. To date, there is no financing request that has been made for that money. It's the same as water. We got financing. Remember, and I've told you many times, Nairobi needs 900 million liters. We had 525 million liters. We've added 140. Yeah. To solve the 250, we need to do Maragua 4 and Northern Collector 2. I've gotten a financing partner willing to put in more than $100 million for Maragua 4, Northern Collector 2. It has to come through Treasury. I think it's something beyond just Nairobi. We need to see how either the guarantees or bilaterals between lending institutions and counties can actually be made faster. The Trump discussion, I can't have it without the national government, because Trump, rail is not devolved if you look at the constitution. However, there was an entity set up by legal notice, called Namata. The former minister really revived it, Kipchumba Murkomen, because the chair is the minister, the vice chair is the governor of Nairobi, and you have the chairs of these other counties that was looking at BRT and rail. And then when it dies down, you have no control. So what I'm saying is, just as that law said, classification of roads national account, if you devolve, give us that mandate, give us that authority to get these funds, because for us it might be a priority, but you see now when the cabinet sits, they might say, no, this is now no longer a priority to us at the national level, but the traffic jams are a priority to me as a governor of Nairobi. But to sort it, I need that, so there's that impasse. And let's put our heads together. I'd want us to co-create the solution, because that is why the Senate exists. Chair, let me leave it at that so that we can move on to the other questions.
Chair, I know we don't have time. I'll just ask one question. Governor, if you go to page 30 of the report, where you put the annexes, and also there are other pages, and maybe you could give me I don't know whether you came with your water CO or CEC. I've just noticed that Nairobi County drills its boreholes at not less than 10 million shillings. And yet I live in Nairobi and I know everybody who drills their water, the money is never more than 3 million. Is there a technical reason why this amount has gone that high?
Yeah, it depends on the specific location. I'll give an example. Kipla Primary, I did a borehole that we had to go to 400 meters. 400 meters, So the geotechnical survey looks at many things, and so the costs vary. In some areas, the water table is higher. Some areas, it is much lower. So it actually varies, and I can get to you the specifics. But I remember Kipla Primary. I've done many for the mosques, in areas where we have mosques, because for our Muslim brothers and sisters, water is so important as part of their worship. And so I made that commitment. We've done quite a number, and the costs you can see actually vary and in primary schools. But I can bring that detailed information.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Governor, all your boreholes are around 10 million. All of them. Yes. So if there was variance, then the price shouldn't be the same for each and every borehole. I don't know whether you have seen that.
Thank you, Chair. In fact, Senator Onyonka, if there are differences in the depth of the borehole that has been sunk, then we should not see that uniform figure for all of them. My concern, Chair, because we began this conversation about hospital collections, Senator, we did almost 1.3 billion in hospital collections in the last financial year. And Chair, we as the residents of Nairobi were very concerned when we saw a directive by this administration to take all hospital collections, bank accounts transferred from Tier 1 banks to Sidian Bank. Honorable Chair, as I've told you, we collect 1.3 billion per year from the facilities. Can you imagine us banking that money in a bank whose total customer deposits is 50 billion Kenya shillings annually? And then, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, if you look at the asset base of Nairobi and compare it to the asset base of Sidian Bank, which is only at less than 70 billion shillings, Governor, we want an explanation as to the thinking in your government why you would move from a bank with history like KCB or Cooperative Bank and take this money to Sidian Bank, because you will become the largest single depositor in this bank from our if the collections from the facilities is correct and you put it yourself at 1.3, if we are taking all our collections from these hospitals to Sidian, we will become the largest single depositor in Sidian. So we don't understand as the people of Nairobi, and I had written to you on the 12th. I have not gotten a response, but since you are here, I am sure you can give that response.
I think my last question also.
Okay.
Your Excellency, mine is a concern of Nairobi.